we doing? I'm Stephen Lewis. Radio for a bunch of years, afternoon shows, morning shows, worked with some great people, some talented people who are far more talented than I am. Curated playlists, and still do the radio thing, but like to do other things and branch out as well. So the podcast world is something that I'm kind of dipping my toe in right now, hence life as we know it, where I kind of pick things that kind of pick my brain, bother me, that I witness or that I'm interested in to the day. So I try to stay away from politics, although sometimes I do get a little bit in that vein, but not much because you can't win. You're always going to piss somebody off. But, so I like to talk about a lot of things. If you could like and follow, support the pod at Stephen Lewis on the air, that would be awesome. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and whatnot. So I have Karma Chameleon by Culture Club stuck in my head. It has been stuck in my head all day. I do not know why, because I'm not a huge 80s music guy. So for it to be stuck in my head is kind of a strange thing. Like, I don't really know why. But anyway, this is not about Boy George and the Culture Club. This is about Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Great movie. I got a chance to see it early, like I do with so many other movies. The movie itself hits theaters, I believe, Friday, 31st. And from the first time I saw a trailer for this, I kind of could tell they were going in the comedy route. And I'm like, this might be the way to go. This might just be a good niche, and this might work. And I haven't seen a bad trailer since. And I absolutely love this movie. Dungeons & Dragons has this big stigma to it. It always has. There are some people that love it, play it religiously. I remember playing in college with some friends of mine, and we had a great time. Now people even act it out. LARPers are a big thing. Live action role play, where people dress up, go to parks, and they, do their thing. So Dungeons & Dragons has always had a following and a stigma at the same time. In fact, in Hollywood, Joe Manganiello, who you might remember from True Blood and a bunch of other stuff, he has the end-all be-all of Dungeons & Dragons games, going with like some of the A-list of Hollywood want to sit at the table while he leads an adventure. So it's definitely found its mainstream niche to an extent. Now, there was a Dungeons & Dragons version that came out in 2000, which was just god-awful, and that was pre-Lord of the Rings or anything like that. So this one, it doesn't try to be Lord of the Rings, and it's not that kind of fantasy, which is good because few things from the fantasy world have been able to live up to Lord of the Rings. It also does not try to be Game of Thrones or House of Dragon, which is equally good because that's a whole different element, and Game of Thrones does its thing with, kind of politics and intrigue woven into a fantasy world, and there's a lot more, sex and violence, and Dungeons & Dragons doesn't do that. But what it does do is entertain the hell out of you for about 2 hours. Basically, it's a thief and a bunch of his friends that get together to retrieve a relic. They have all of the right ideas as to why they want to do this, but it goes all the wrong ways and helps to unleash this great evil upon the land, and therefore they have to attempt to kind of set things back in order. So they put together another group of people and go after and try to fix things. And everything starts with the cast, and this cast is fantastic. Chris Pine is good in just about everything. Like, he is got charisma, he's got personality, and it's hard not to like Chris Pine, even in the worst of movies. But this cast is strong with him as the lead, Michelle Rodriguez in a role where she doesn't say a lot, but everything she does works. She's been kind of stereotyped as the Hollywood female badass, and it just works in Dungeons & Dragons. And then you get some other characters. The wizard, who's kind of a bumbling wizard. He's not sure if he is a wizard. You get a really cool druid who is kind of a shapeshifter and does her thing. And then you get Hugh Grant, who is the villain of all this. And you can tell the thing that I liked about all this, every single member of this cast looks like they are having a lot of fun. And there might be some mild spoilers coming up in this. It starts with Pine. His character is, a dad, and kind of a bumbling dad, but he's the one that is the leader of the group per se. But he's not the all-encompassing hero. He's kind of the, I don't want to say bumbling idiot, but he kind of loafs his way through and, kind of finds the right way to win at the right time and whatever, where he's definitely not the badass save the world guy. That kind of falls on Michelle Rodriguez, and also Rajon Page, who plays the paladin in this. And that dude, some of the action scenes are very well choreographed. They use a lot of practical stuff going on to complement the CGI, and it's just, I don't want to spoil too much of this because I want people to go out and actually see it for themselves, but it was very entertaining. Even the stuff that you see in the trailer, where you can tell the comedy is, even though you've seen the trailer and you know that's coming, it still plays well on screen. It's still fun to laugh at, and it all works. The ensemble cast works together, and I'm not a big enough Dungeons & Dragons guy to recognize. I recognize some names, but there's a lot of things that are, from what I was told from one of the other people who saw it with me, it's right out of the board game. Like, they take some things that are right out of the board game that people will recognize, whether it's a creature or a place or, a type of spell or a type of weapon. Like, all this stuff comes straight from the game, and it fits together well. Like, I watched this movie, and at the end of it, I wanted to see them go on another adventure, and so hopefully it works out. I mean, 94% score on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which, again, I hate Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's, kind of runs it for people because people on Rotten Tomatoes say it sucks. I'm a believer that no matter what the movie is when it comes out, if it's something that you want to see, I think you should see it and judge for yourself whether it's awful. I mean, there are a lot of movies that Rotten Tomatoes absolutely despises that I personally love and think are great movies. So it's all subjective. But in any case, it is in theaters this weekend, and it is worth checking out. There's also a awesome nod to the 1980s cartoon that is in it, and it lasts longer than just a second. It's more than a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing, which I thought was really fun to see. They did make one mistake that I will address at another point, and if you see the movie, you'll probably figure out exactly what that mistake kind of is. And there's also an awesome cameo, like unexpectedly awesome cameo from a Hollywood A-lister who ends up having ties to Michelle Rodriguez's character Holga in the movie, that it would be the last person that I would have expected to play any form of bit part or whatever in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So anyway, that's what I got. Not too many spoilers, so not too bad. Hopefully I didn't ruin it for you. It is definitely good. It is definitely worth seeing on the big screen. It's a lot of fun and the perfect movie to go get a bag of popcorn and forget about life for 2 hours or so, or a while. Anyway, that's what I got. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out, watching. Go spend time with those you love, like, or tolerate, because time is limited. So get on out of here.